Did he really make a PowerPoint to steal my concert tickets? 3 months ago, I landed 2 floor seats to Midnight Division's first reunion show in over a decade. It was their only stop in my entire state. I skipped meals and sacrificed my social life to afford them. Worth it. Everything was chill until Levi joined our friend group. My roommate Matt had met him at some coding workshop. Levi was the kind of guy who greeted people with, "What's your Spotify rap look like?" and said things like, "My headphones cost more than your car, but it's about sound quality." I mentioned the tickets one night while we were all hanging out at a pub. Levi's face lit up like he'd just heard God speak. He lunged across the table, shoved his phone in my face, and said, "I'm in the top 0.001% of Midnight Division listeners worldwide. Statistically, I'm the top fan in this region." That same night, 2 a.m., he texted me, "Did you know I've spent 7% of my waking hours listening to them?" I ignored it, until I woke up to a shared Google Doc titled Fan Value Metrics, with a dozen empty columns and Levi's stats already filled in. From that day forward, every time we hung out, he brought evidence. Screenshots, graphs, a printed timeline of the band's discography annotated in highlighter. Once, he slid me a chart titled Dedication versus Deservedness. Then I got a group text. "Mandatory meeting, Sunday, 2 p.m., objective ticket allocation discussion." I thought it was a prank. But then Matt sent a PDF agenda. Bullet points. Suggested discussion structure. Someone replied, "I'll bring the projector." I showed up at the apartment and found 8 people sitting in a circle, laptops open like we were about to launch a startup. Levi stood by the TV, adjusting a PowerPoint titled, "Quantifying True Fandom, a Statistical Justification." I'm not joking, he had a clicker. "Welcome," he said, like a smug TED speaker. "Today we will determine, using empirical data, who deserves the floor seats." He launched into 20 slides. Scatter plots, fan regression curves, pie charts labeled things like merchandise ownership ratio. Everyone nodded like this wasn't absolutely unhinged. Then Steve, a guy I barely knew, stood up and rolled out a decade of concert stubs on the coffee table like legal evidence. "Here's my attendance index since 2011, he said, pulling out a laser pointer. "Notice the consistency." People began shouting ideas. "Let's do a trivia contest. Merch cost divided by income. Vinyl should count more than digital. Does bootleg material increase loyalty metrics?" Someone drew a tournament bracket on the whiteboard labeled Ultimate Fan Battle. Someone else Googled how to contact band management for fan ranking disputes. Levi cut in every 5 seconds to remind us he'd literally streamed their second album while asleep. "My subconscious dedication transcends physical listening time," he claimed. Then he climbed onto the couch and shouted, "The tickets must reflect merit." Everyone stopped. I stood up. "Or, I can just call Ticket now, since the tickets are under my name and my card." A silence more powerful than a stadium bass drop followed. Everyone nodded like I'd just proposed world peace. We called. 40 minutes of hold music. Finally, a woman picked up. She sounded like she'd fought in 4 wars and lost them all. Matt explained the situation. She listened in silence, then said, "Sir, the tickets belong to whoever's name is on the purchase. That's how buying things works." Levi jumped in. "What about fan verification protocols?" She didn't miss a beat. "There's no such thing, because that would be completely insane. Anything else?" He opened his mouth. "No, there isn't." Click. Silence. Levi slowly packed up his laptop, gathered his printed graphs, and stood in the doorway. "The system," he said, voice shaking, "rewards capitalism over passion." Then he slammed the door. A chart of streaming time versus emotional impact fell off the wall. 2 weeks later, I got an Instagram notification. Levi was live, streaming from the nosebleed section. Commentary: "Actually, acoustics are better up here. Real fans appreciate the full aerial soundscape." He was wearing a shirt that said, "Top 0.001% listener," with an arrow pointing at his own face.